Bruce and the rest of the Bat family have to decide what to do with Batwoman after she kills Clayface. What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is iRate Reviews, the show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. Make sure you subscribe to get more of these every single week. The book that I want to talk about is Detective Comics 975, which is kind of an anniversary issue, and it really shows us what's going to happen to Batwoman and how it's going to set up the storyline moving forward with her character. Overall, there's a lot involved. There's a lot of moving parts from the Bat family that are going to make their way into this as they kind of decide what to do moving forward. Let's dive in and see what they come up with. Over the last few issues of Detective Comics, we've had some insane things happen, including the killing of Clayface by Batwoman. And what we do is we start with another death when we get into 975, but it's actually the death of Kate Kane's mom. So we flash back to when both Kate and Bruce were very young, as we're kind of burying Kate Kane's mom, and we're going through these various things where we find that Kate and Bruce are not so different. You know, they're kids and they're just kind of meeting up together, and he goes over the dreams that he has about possibly shooting the person that gunned down his parents in that alley. And Kate has similar dreams about hurting the people that hurt her mom, and they come to the conclusion, or at least Kate comes to the conclusion, that they should kill them. They should hurt them. Why don't they find them and kill them? Which shows you just the difference in person that you have between Bruce and Kate. Bruce has always had a slightly more passive outlook on these things, where Kate has had a much more aggressive and final kind of solution. And as we see Kate thinking about Cassandra and staying up late at night and not necessarily being able to get a lot of sleep, we jump over to the clock tower in Burnside, where we actually drop in on Nightwing and Barbara Gordon Batgirl, and they're having a conversation regarding what we're going to be seeing in this issue. So while Batgirl is going through a bunch of different things, she's doing some research, seeing exactly what's going on, trying to justify the angle of Batwoman, Dick is obviously just going to kind of lead with his heart, because that's what he always does. But you get a little bit of a primer as to what's really going to be happening inside this issue. We jump over to Wayne Manor, where we see Orphan standing there in front of the window, kind of basking in the sunlight that's coming in, and then a young Damien is headed back towards his bedroom. So this brings out a bunch of fun little stuff where you see Orphan just absolutely take out Damien, who was holding a cup of coffee, and you know, Tim's there to interject a little bit of kind of humor that goes along with that, but ultimately Alfred is there to distract Orphan to make sure that she doesn't think too terribly much about what kind of situation everybody's in. We'll jump to the Batcave, and the Batcave is full of not only Bruce's finest toys, but his finest family members. You see Barbara, you see Damien, you see Tim, you see Dick, you see Jason Todd, basically everybody that's a part of the current team, except for maybe like Duke Thomas or somebody like that. You know, everybody is there so that way Batman can trust their judgment and help him decide exactly what to do with Kate. Of course, Kate is off doing her own thing. She's taking on Gorilla Boss, and she's fighting off all these other various orangutan kind of individuals in this barroom brawl with the aid of Batwing, which is nice. The team's kind of sticking together. But while they're taking on these different combatants, we actually see that they're having a conversation about what's really going on with them. So you've got this violence overlaid with this very deep and introspective thought where Kate Kane is really concerned about what happened with Cassandra and the look that she gave her, the idea that, you know, maybe she broke something. She broke something important to her, something that she needed to believe in, which is probably one of the most prominent things that you need to think about this. What kind of repercussions did Kate Kane's actions have on more than just her, more than just the death of Clayface? How did it impact the rest of the team? And that's the big thing. We go back to the meeting, and there is a lot of text. I mean, there is walls of this. So this is definitely something that you're going to want to read on your own, so that way you can kind of absorb exactly what's going on inside this situation. But you've got a very strong case that's being made by Tim about what his goal was, and you know, how he wanted to kind of create the situation that was going to lead to a better version of Gotham. And it was very clear that the Belfry and everything about it was Tim's idea. You go to Dick, and he has a more heartfelt kind of thing. You know, if he had killed Clayface, it would take a long time for him to earn his way back into the trust circle for Batman. You know, Damien doesn't think that anybody should be called the Bat family. And then you got Jason. So the Red Hood, you know, Jason Todd, is all about how this is more about Bruce and his ego, about how he feels like his rules are the best. And it's, you get all these different perspectives that are coming from different characters inside the Bat family and what it means to be them. How James Tynion is giving them an individual and unique voice is amazing. You're not just getting carbon copies of Bruce, you're getting distinct points of view and perspective, and nothing gets more true than when you go to Barbara Gordon's Batgirl. And she takes a look at this and she says,
First off, this isn't really your idea. Like, you know, the idea of having all these people together, this isn't your idea. This is Tim's idea. This was never something that was yours. And ultimately, he knew that Kate Kane was going to be recruited by the colony, and he was using this team, this tool that Tim Drake had come up with, as a means to kind of take her in, bring her back from this kind of paramilitary organization, and kind of loop her into the system. And what it comes down to is this is Batman's way of kind of pulling the closest combination, the closest connection to his family, his former family, his mother in particular, the closest person to him, the most like him, and pulling her back from the edge because he's worried, in James Tynion's perspective, he's worried about his mother, Martha, possibly wanting him to take that shot, which would completely undermine the entire moral foundation that Batman has set up since he was a child. You know, since he really kind of developed into this individual, this masked vigilante, this crusader. It's a real serious hit to his moral sensibilities, and Barbara is just laying it out there thick. Again, it is something that you guys must read, but let's just stop talking about Batman because there's another player in this, and that's Batwoman. So Kate Kane goes to visit her mom and goes over everything about this and exactly what's going on in her life, and the look that she saw on Cassandra was something that she saw in the reflection of the shovel on herself the day that her mother died, or that they buried her mother. And she's there, she goes and sees her father, somebody that, you know, should go talk to his dead wife, and she thinks and she's thought about the contemplation, what she's going to be to the colony and everything that's really going on. And she says, "I'm in." As we finish on a splash page, a single page of nothing but these giant cloaked ships and helicopters, this whole paramilitary organization that she is going to be in charge of. And that's going to lead us into the finale of James Tynion's run, which is going to end on Detective Comics 981. So overall, Tynion I can't really fault for his writing. He's always had a really strong connection with Batman, and he's done a very good job since he took over the title at the beginning of DC Rebirth. And with the new artist that came on, I really like the art style. It is definitely more distinct. It's got a clarity to it that a lot of previous artists on Detective Comics haven't, but Detective continues to be an extremely strong comic when it comes to this. As soon as we get away from things like the spoiler storyline and Anarchy and a few of those things, and you focus on the core of the Bat family and the emotional struggle and the action that takes place around that, it makes for a really strong book, and I'm always happy to recommend Detective Comics, especially in this current run. But I want to know what you guys think too, so hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.